Happy Friday. I am just jumping on because this thought about choices has been on my mind for a good 12 hours, well, probably going on 24 now. And it's so in the front of my mind that I thought I'd get on here and do this live so that way it doesn't continue to run around in my head. And of course, as always, say hello when you jump on. Let me know where you are. If you're watching it as a replay, hashtag replay. Ask questions, share your comments. This is a time to be engaged. It's a time to come together as community, because without community, all of this would be so much more difficult, at least in my opinion, my experience. I've seen so many fabulous things coming together and happening because the communities that are being created and how people are coming together in community. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know if you got questions. All right. So what do I mean you've got choices? You know, there was some years ago, well, actually, let me see how long ago. I guess it was about 10 years ago when I first moved to Western North Carolina and first opened my practice. And within a very short period of time, less than 6 months, the practice that I was supposed to be purchasing, that fell through. All the money I sunk into it was gone. I had to start from scratch an entirely new practice. And my relationship tanked. It was too much stress for my relationship. And again, in less than 6 months, I had to find a new place to live. I had no real source of income because I was starting a new practice. And I had used savings and money I had saved up to sink into my practice, which at this point was sunk. And and I didn't know anybody where I lived, to the point that at one point I can remember a friend that I had made calling me saying, let's go out to lunch. And I said, I'd love to go out to lunch to you, except I can't because between my two accounts, my business and my personal, I have $35 with no savings and no credit card. I had no credit card at that time. So, I was kind of just hoping for the best and plugging away and being persistent. And it was at that point that a new friend that I made, who in a really kind of weird, unusual way, I knew I needed to talk to this person because there was like an energy about them. And I wanted to experience that energy for myself. And when we got together for dinner one night, we were talking, and he was asking about my move to North Carolina. He was asking me how it was going, and I said, to be honest, it's not going well at all. And long story short, what he said to me is I had a choice. And I was like, what do you mean I have a choice? I'm not able to pay my bills. I'm not sure where my next meal is going to come from. I think I'm going to have to go out and get a job, even though I just became a doctor of chiropractic. It just was so embarrassing. I felt like shit. You name it, it was happening. And he said, but you have a choice on how you respond to that. He's like, you do have a choice. And when I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you could have a choice to keep perseverating on the fact that you don't have money coming in and you're not sure how you're going to pay bills. And, you get $35 in your account and that's not going to pay the bills and it's not going to pay for your next meal, or more than, one or two. He's like, or you can choose to look at things differently. You can choose to look at possibilities and opportunities instead of what's not happening. And at first I was like, okay, why the hell not? Because I did feel like I didn't have a whole lot of options. Um, and I found myself then looking for ways to be happy, to put a smile on my face, whether it was going outside and standing in the sun, or putting my feet on the ground, or getting in the woods, or talking to a friend. Whatever the case, I looked for things that would help me choose happiness, help me choose joy, help me choose abundance, help me choose things that I wanted to be experiencing. And while I was skeptical, what I found is I didn't feel so bad. And I can tell you that I believe it's what led to a shift where patients started coming in, good things started to happen. And, even though I only had $35 between my business account and personal account at that time, my account, I never bounced anything. I never went into overdraft. I paid. Now, did I pay everything on time? No. I'll be honest, I didn't. But as he said to me, is it going to be the end of the world? Is it going to be the death of you, or for the credit card company, or the, whoever? And I was like, no. He's like, you'll get to it. He's like, be upfront, be honest. And that's what I did. And things started changing. And I never overdrafted any of my accounts. Money started coming in. And how I felt about things continued to change. So I'm sharing this with you now because we're all on a roller coaster. And I keep using that analogy. We're on a roller coaster. We can feel great in 1 minute and then we can feel not so great in the next. We read something and it has us feeling optimistic, and in the next moment, not so much. Or maybe we're good for a few days or even a week or more, and then you wake up one morning and it's like, what the fuck? Because you just don't feel so good that day. Or maybe there's a day that you feel productive, and the next day you don't feel like doing diddly. Or maybe your house is clean and you don't know what else to do. Or where you are, it's cold, it's rainy, the sun hasn't been out. Whatever the case might be, is you have the choice of how you choose to spend the next moment of your life, and the moment after that, and the rest of your day. You can choose to take action, or you can just choose to be quiet, to choose to be. You can choose to be gung-ho and you know what? I'm gonna do something. You can choose. I know there are some people who are choosing to go out and volunteer. They can't work. They're not working, but they're choosing to go out and volunteer in some of the food banks and some of the hospitals and other places, or they're sewing masks, or they're doing what they can, because yes, their situation may not be the best. They may wish for it to be different, but they have a choice in how they respond. The people in the stores, they may be happy to have jobs. They may be anxious and nervous because they're on the front lines and being exposed to other people. But one of the things, I was talking to somebody last night, and one of the things that they shared with me is when they've had to go into a store, and they're only going every 2 weeks, but when they've had to go into a store, people have been really, really nice. And that's a choice. So when you think that you don't have a choice, you have a choice, a minimum. I always say this to people, minimum, you have at least 2 choices. You have the choice to do something or not do something. They're both choices. Now, one of the things that really helps me a lot when it comes to things like this, when it comes to challenges and transitions and, well, frankly, everyday life is the Four Agreements. I reread that book every year, often with a group of people so we can discuss it. And I take something new from it all the time. The first agreement, I will have integrity with my word. Oh, and of course, because I'm saying this now, I'm questioning it. And I'm going to look it up just to be sure that I'm saying it properly. The Four Agreements. Here we go. Okay. Come on. Yeah, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against others and yourself. Avoid using gossip. Use the power of word in the direction of truth and love. That's the first one. The second, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you're immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. You know, when people are out there and they're being, because I've also seen some posts on Facebook where they have had not so great experiences at a store. And what I would put out there is they're so scared, anxious, worried, or something else that we're not aware of, that they're attacking. They have something to say and it's not nice. But it's about them and where they're at. The third agreement, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. So don't make assumptions. Let's not assume what's going on for the other person, what it means when they act this way or that way. And the fourth, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So again, I'd love for you to say hello. Let me know how you're doing, what questions you have, what you think about this live. Of course, share it with others if you think somebody would benefit. And if you're looking for something to do, read or reread the Four Agreements. I'd highly recommend it. All right, everyone, I'm sending you lots of love and, of course, all things fucking fantastic. Until we connect and can see each other in person, I'll talk to you later.